picture-perfect afternoon for a Big Ten matchup here at the Horseshoe. Ohio State off to a perfect start. Number 2 in America, taking on the Hoosiers of Indiana. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Hewitt. Allison Williams will join us in just a moment. The calendar turns to October. The leaves start to change, and Ohio State is at the top of the poll. It's amazing. Urban Meyer finds a way to do this year after year, in spite of the fact that they lost 11 players in the spring to the NFL draft. How does he keep this program with this type of consistent performance?
I think two things jump out about this crew in particular. They're as fast a team as I've seen yet in college football, and doing my preparation getting ready for this. And secondly, and Kevin Wilson, the Indiana coach, just made this comment to me moments ago on the field saying it's remarkable how Urban has cut the entitlement out. These kids are so hungry. You watch practice, it is as competitive and combative a practice as you're going to find, but they love it. And they love coming together on game day in a pretty special way.
And to be number 2 in America, you need a quarterback. He, of course, has one in JT Barrett. Number 2 right now in our Heismanology, our kind of unofficial poll that we take of our Heisman voters on staff, and yet not getting the national discussion that you might believe he would.
And I love how he continues to grow his game. Big Ten Player of the Year 2 years ago, and he's never satisfied. This is what he does natural. He's a tremendous runner, and those carries have been down a little bit this season, and that's by design, to try to take some of the pounding off of a guy that can run through any tackle. The anticipation as a passer. This is where in 2016 he is much further ahead than he was 2 years ago, and he's always been a magician, which is A1 in this offense. It has quarterback run in a plethora of speedy options to get the ball to. JT's on it, and the team and the offense has responded to him.
As good as their offense has been, Allison Williams, their defense amazingly has been that much better.
Yeah, when I asked head coach Urban Meyer how much credit his defense deserves for the success so far, he said, quote, almost all of it, because when you don't allow touchdowns, you have a pretty good team. Not only do they keep opponents out of the end zone, they've scored twice as many touchdowns as they've allowed. So yes, they are at the top of just about every defensive category. But defensive coordinator Luke Fickell told us we don't set any defensive statistic goals. We have one goal, to be the best defense in the country. And guys, based on scoring D, they are.
And it's time for Ready for Kickoff, brought to you by Cintas. And Brock, where will your eyes be?
Ohio State's going to get the ball, and Curtis Samuel is going to get lots of touches today. Urban Meyer charts the number of touches his home run hitters get, and Curtis is as fast as anybody on the field today. I expect to see him all over. Richard Lago, I don't look up to many quarterbacks, but he's every bit of 6'6 plus, and he slings it all over the field. The number 1 passing offense in the Big Ten. This game will go through his right arm. And then lastly, the one area that Urban told us yesterday he'd still like to see grow and be more dominant is his D-line. They will get an opportunity against an inexperienced, in some spots, true freshman O-lineman for Indiana this afternoon.
And of course, IU coming off of their first win over a ranked opponent since September of 2014, as they found a way against Michigan State in overtime at home last week, 24-21. Indiana hasn't been 2-0 in the Big Ten since 1991. And an interesting move. They won the toss and deferred their option to the second half. So it'll be the Buckeyes to start with the football, and we are underway at the Horseshoe. Harris Campbell from the 1. Harris Campbell barely to the 18. So field position on the side of the Hoosiers, but JT Barrett on the side of the Bucks.
17 touchdowns he's accounted for this season, 14 of them through the air. He's got speed and lots of spaces to distribute. And the one thing I love about JT is his composure. When you're the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year as a redshirt freshman, you shatter records, you know you're good. And the team feeds off his confidence and poise.
And leadership on a level, according to Urban Meyer, with Tim Tebow in this locker room.
High praise.
Mike Weber, the redshirt freshman, starting at tailback. But you will see Curtis Samuel, number 4. You will see Dontre Wilson, number 2, all over the field for Ohio State. First down handoff to Weber. Gets to the edge. Out of bounds at the 25. Good block by Pat Elflein in the center. And the numbers that JT Barrett continues to pile up. He could be across the board record holder just about everywhere in the Ohio State book. Easy first down picked up. The run game to start for the Buckeyes. Mike Weber out to the 35-yard line.
Part of the reason Kevin Wilson decided to defer and kick it off here is he has more faith in his defensive personnel than he's had in 6 years. Their strength is their linebackers. Their safety is tackling. Some of their challenges is up front. And you're seeing it the first 2 snaps as Ohio State moving and changing that line of scrimmage both into the short area of the field as they pull out the center, and that time right out of a pistol look right into the teeth of Indiana's D.
A little shovel to the left, and that's a turnover. A backwards flip right off of the face mask of Weber, recovered by Indiana's Patrick Doherty. So IU gets an early break, and they're on the plus side of the field.
We're seeing this play more and more in college football. You're just trying to get your player out to the second level, but JT throws it before Weber is even ready. They've worked on that all week. That's a play that I want to get my difference maker the ball and into his hands immediately so he can get his vision down the field. But you still, I talked about his anticipation as a passer with those running backs. You have to make sure they make eye contact before a play like that, and Doherty on the spot.
Great field position inside the Ohio State 30. Richard Lego, the junior college transfer, has to deal with 100,000 plus and the crowd noise. Divine Redding up the middle. He is a hammer looking for a nail down to about the 22-yard line. A gain of 7 right up the middle, and that will take a lot of pressure off of Richard Lego. Wondering how he'll handle this atmosphere.
That will be his best friend because play action pass at 6'6" off of that inside run is what he does best right now.
Redding again has a first down and almost had a lot more. Brandon Knight with a good block on the edge at right tackle, so it will be a gain of 6. Quick pace. Here's Divine Redding. Finds a cutback lane. Down to the 6-yard line. Looks to be good for a first down.
And you saw the same concept. A quick pitch there, but that time Lego gives his running back the opportunity to square his shoulders. And remember this, Allison hit on it. 0 rushing touchdowns allowed this season for this group defensively. Difficult to run into, pretty stout, tremendous at linebacker McMillan. It's really the soul of the captain of their defense, number 5, right in the middle.
Lego changes the play now in the shotgun. Quarterback keeper that loses about 3. Back to the 8-yard line where it will be second down and goal. Jerome Baker came through first for the Bucks. 8 opposition red zone trips so far this season, and only 1 touchdown allowed by this Buckeye defense.
And that will be the last time we see that play called this afternoon.
Well, they gave him a generous spot back to about the 6-yard line. It looked like he went out near the 8, second down and goal. Divine Redding. Third down and goal at the 4.
And that's where the challenge of that first down play, your margin for error, you hear people talk about it all the time. In the passing game, everything condenses. Margin for error play calling does as well.
The toss to Redding. He won't get there. 4th and goal down inside the 4-yard line. Again, it was Jerome Baker making the stop. So the turnover by Ohio State, but they stiffen inside the 5-yard line. And it will be Griffin Oates to come on to try to give Indiana the early lead.
And that's now 6 of 15 scoring touchdowns in the red zone. You've got to be around 75 to 80%. You can't be sitting there in the 40s. Love the early run game to get yourself down there, but the inability to execute in the first down failure will let down that drive.
The Big Ten kicker of the year, though, puts it through from last season. Off to a shaky start this year, 5 for his first 9, but knocks that one through. Indiana gets the turnover, and they've got the 3-0 lead. Interesting start here at the Horseshoe. Indiana gets the short field goal, Brock Eward, but you can make an argument lucky to have the 3 on the board.
Yeah, Griffin Oaks, Big Ten kicker of the year last year. It's his choice of who he wanted holding, and he picked his punter. Joseph Gideon, and he's going to remind the young Joseph, please laces out. If that was a 45-yard field goal, that's going to influence it.
The Hoosiers steal 3 points to start, right back where we began, with Griffin Oakes kicking it deep to Paris Campbell at the 10. Good return. Goes to the 30-yard line. Empty backfield again on third down. JT Barrett wide open, and that bunch formation freed up Marcus Ball. The tight end just lost on a coverage bust by Indiana for a big first down.
Yeah, what happens there is the distraction of Curtis Samuel, the game changer. Even when he doesn't get the touch, so much influence. Indiana busts because they're trying to make sure that Curtis Samuel doesn't beat them. Tight end comes wide open.
Barrett on a keeper into the secondary. A gain of 13.
There's a magician. We talk about it in the open. He's so gifted and skilled, and in 2014 when they were at times unstoppable, it's his ability. When you hear quarterbacks have poise, oh, he is so poised. Tom Brady is so poised and so patient in the pocket as a passer, true. But to have the poise in the run game, to ride that mesh point as long as JT does, takes a lot of guts and a lot of skill.
Little zone read again, and this time bouncing it outside, but nothing there for Mike Weber on first down. Maybe a yard and a half. T-Gray Scales made the stop at the 30-yard line, so it's second down and long again. And
there once again, I think you see the strength of this crew. The Indiana plan is to muddy the waters up front defensively and allow T-Gray and their linebackers. Top 3 tacklers are all their linebackers. Marcelino Ball number 3, Scales number 1, Oliver number 2. Big guys want to stay square and let the speeded linebacker run horizontally.
Play action, the slant caught. Fighting his way is Noah Brown for a first down. And now it's Ohio State's turn in the red zone, a gain of 11.
That's why Urban Meyer loves JT Barrett. It's why he praises him. It's why Kevin Wilson on the other side praised JT this week for all the hype of Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson. You can't leave this kid off the list. That was a free runner right in his face. Marcelino Ball, the nickelback, and he knows it. And he never flinches and delivers a perfect catch and run ball.
Again, that bunch set at the top of your screen. Nearest man to JT Barrett is Curtis Samuel. They clock down to 1. They run a little option, and this one sniffed out nicely as Nate Hoff tripped up Barrett, lost a yard.
And that's right in between the 2 best offensive linemen for Ohio State. Had F-line in the middle, Billy Price as strong as they come. But Nate Hoff is no slouch, 6'2", 305 pounds.
Second and long. Barrett well protected across the middle again. It's Brown, but he's bottled up quickly. It's a good job on the coverage by Ashawn Riggins, a true freshman running with Noah Brown, and a big play here early. You can feel it every time we're in this situation. Brock, for the Indiana defense, they're going to give up yards between the 20s. They need stops in the red zone.
You're talking about the #1 third down team in America. Add that to the list of scoring offense and scoring defense and total offense. It's so good on the money down because there are so many weapons to try to contain, including the quarterback run.
And it's a 5-man rush. Barrett looks end zone. Almost intercepted on the carom. Ashawn Riggins got a hand in on Noah Brown again, and it is a red zone stop for the Indiana defense.
Can't cover it better than this. Nice little pocket collapsing. I like the 4-man rush instead of the 3-man rush, and that should have gone the other way. Riggins doing what his buddy on the other side, Fant, does better than anybody in America, and that's break up the pass and nearly back-to-back takeaways.
37-yard field goal attempt right down the middle for Tyler Durbin, and we are tied at 3. So both defenses with important red zone stops here in the first. But a very impressive start as well for Indiana to get past the midway point of the first quarter, tied at 3.
The eye in the sky doesn't lie for anybody, and Urban Meyer told us point blank this would be the best team they faced. And through the first half of the first quarter, you see the difference in Indiana physically. They can run and hit.
Devontae Williams from the 1. Gets to the sideline. Gets a block. Excellent return. Out to the 38-yard line. Divine Redding bottled up and brought down for a loss of a yard.
You're seeing some check with me situations for both quarterbacks. And that time you're running a run play, and some of the conversation I'm sure on the sideline is, hey, let's get up here and just run the ball as well. Right, everything can't always be check with me to get our tempo going, but that time, the wrong time, is they run right into the teeth of a corner blitz.
And a smart move here by Indiana. Shorten the game. They let the quarter end. And the deeper we go into this game, the more belief you'd have to think would be there for the Hoosiers. They played a terrific first quarter on the road. We are tied at 3 after 1 quarter of play here at the Horseshoe. Number 2 might have a challenge on their hands all afternoon. Welcome back to college football, presented by Exxon and Mobil. You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. Tied at 3 at the start of the second quarter. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams, and the rest of our crew here at the Horseshoe. And a very quiet Horseshoe at that, as Richard Lego and Indiana starting deep in their own end. 2nd down and 10 here in the second quarter, but did plenty to take the crowd out of the game in the first 15 minutes. Play action. Lego extending the play at the knees of Divine Redding, so now it's 3rd down and 10. Jalen Holmes was tracking Lego. Let's check in with Allison.
Brock, you showed us in film how Ohio State likes to use those linebackers around the line of scrimmage and have them dance a little bit to force the opposing fronts to collapse and squeeze. Well, the message to Indiana's tight ends is to keep your eyes on that defensive end. Even if the linebacker is coming, keep your eyes on the D-gap.
Amazing how many times we hear that from coaches, to have that awareness of what's going on around you. And the eye discipline isn't always just for defenders, can be for tight ends and linemen as well.
Only a 4-man rush. Lego in the flat. Divine Redding dropped it, and Indiana will have to punt.
Yeah, and 3rd and 10 is going to be no good. 1 of 15 coming into the game on 3rd and 9 plus. Now 1 of 17 this season. And that's man-to-man coverage. There's few opportunities without Ohio State having any threat of a run game in front of them to find a lot of open windows. Got to be better in the early downs.
Joseph Gedion's first punt right on his season average of 39 yards. Dontre Wilson averaging over 10 yards per return so far this season, so he could set Ohio State up with great field position. Wobbly kick. Takes an Indiana bounce. Out of bounds at the 33. Curtis Samuel. And there have not been, Brock, a lot of touches so far for Curtis Samuel and Dontre Wilson, who you picked out as really the 2 speedy difference makers for this Ohio State offense.
And there's that little folder right there, right next to Urban Meyer in his hands, and on it he keeps track of the number of touches. And talking to Ed Warner, the offensive coordinator, when Urban is marking right there is how many times do I get my home run hitters at bats. And I promise you, Curtis Samuel, when the head man's in charge and he wants him getting the ball, will find ways to get him into action.
He motions into the slot on 2nd down. JT Barrett under pressure and goes down. Nate Hoff got him for a sack. That's a loss of a yard. And now it's 3rd down and 9.
There's not many guys that Billy Price and Pat Elflein, the center and right guard, tangle with that can match them mano-a-mano. Billy Price, the right guard there, 54. Shots over 700 pounds. He is the strongest of any Buckeye. But if there's a guy in this conference that wants to, not only in the weight room, but on the gridiron, go toe-to-toe, it might just be Nate Hoff. Big fellow in the middle, hard to push around.
Barrett with the pocket collapsing again, goes down again. This time it's Ralph Green. A 3-and-out forced by the Indiana defense.
They're better on this side of the ball. Tom Allen, new defensive coordinator for the Hoosiers. Part of the reason that Coach Wilson deferred coming out the gate. He likes what this crew is doing, and there is more sense of belief on that side of the ball than they've had in a long time.
Cameron Johnston bounces one, and Mitchell Page tells his teammates to get away from, and it rolls down to the 11-yard line. A field position, low-scoring game between Indiana and Ohio State. Not what we expected. We are tied at 3. Indiana has forced the best team in America on third down into a 1-for-4 start, Brock. How are they doing it?
Team defense. Ultimately, that's how you're going to have to take care of talent like Ohio State. The Buckeyes get in bunch, and when you do that, you are trying to confuse your opponent. You're trying to disrupt their eyes, which I like to talk about. And you're going to see right here, these four, look at the eyes of the Hoosiers right here into this route combination. They are seeing everything that's going on, and then most importantly, at the moment of truth, right here, these two, Rashard Fenton, his safety, have to pass off that combination. They do just that. They force the takeaway or the punt, and they take care of business. 1 of 4 on third down for the Buckeyes.
And they start this drive to the Hoosiers with their pile driver, the true freshman Tyler Natee. He's only 270, standing behind Richard Lego, and
come again
up the middle for about a yard. That's right, 270.
Can you picture him as a high school Wildcat quarterback in Euless, Texas last year? And how much fun that was for 190-pound high school linebackers to try to tackle?
A big man, but only picked up a yard. Lego underneath, and that's a gain of maybe another yard to Donovan Hale.
This feels like the tape I watched last night of Tulsa coming into this building and playing very similar defense for 30 minutes. Held the Buckeyes to 2 field goals. The problem was, well, Tulsa turned it over twice, led to pick sixes and 14 points the other way. Incredibly conservative out of the Hoosiers here. I don't mind it on the road as well as their defense is playing.
Third down and long, particularly difficult for Indiana. Lego under pressure. Does not see the rush coming from behind. The ball's out. That's a fumble. Who's got it? It looks like it might be the Buckeyes. Tyquan Lewis gets the strip sack. And it's 1st and goal, Ohio State. Recovered by Jalen Holmes.
What did I just get done saying about Tulsa? In their offense and what it did to the best defense going right now in college football. It's scoring defense. The group that's also scored 4 touchdowns themselves and now 12 takeaways on the season. They play fast.
So the determination from replay was that this ball was loose and was not in his grasp as his arm is coming forward.
And stands is the key. What was called on the field? If that was called incomplete on the field, it would have stood, I believe, that way.
1st and goal after the turnover. Play action. JT Barrett swings it right, and again, the Hoosiers not fooled. There was a lot of moving parts, and Dontre Wilson wanted to run a long developing wheel route. T-Gray Scales stayed home and made the stop.
Tom Allen's a good one, defensive coordinator. That's why Kevin Wilson made the change. He's also uniquely got 5 defensive coaches on that staff, full-time assistants there for Tom Allen. They are not fooled. They're playing team defense, and they're in the right spot at the right time.
Mike Weber turns the corner. Touchdown. So what ultimately is ruled a fumble costs Indiana 7.
That's what the best teams do.
At least 6. And now it's 7, and it's a 10-3 Ohio State lead. Since 1929, Buckeye trees have been planted in Buckeye Grove, located outside the southwest corner of Ohio Stadium, to honor every OSU All-American. And after the spring game, the losing team has to spread the mulch and spruce the grove up. That's pretty good yard work if you lose the spring game. And you saw Greg Schiano out there with a wheelbarrow, and JT Barrett working hard as well. Ohio State gets a touchdown off the turnover. And now how will Indiana respond? Short kick. Devontae Williams just inside the 10. Pounded down at about the 23-yard line. Devon Redding, slow developing play, looking for a cutback lane that's just not there. And eventually ends up underneath Jalen Holmes.
And you saw the early run success for the Hoosiers. That's because the early down run success.
Quick snap on second down, and now Brock for an offense that is in particular struggling this season. Third down and long. It is third down and 10 again.
Well, the last three of those possessions on that chart all had the same thing. Well, this drive is having zero success on first and second down run.
And the punt group will come out from inside their own 30-yard line as Jalen Holmes brought down Majette for a loss of a couple.
Yeah, that's a familiar name and number right there with Mr. Bosa, and he gives the true freshman Coy Cronk, the left tackle for Indiana, a welcome to the Big Ten football moment. As Coy's trying to cut him down, cross his face, Bosa throws that face into the turf.
And Nick Bosa was a more highly rated prospect than his older brother was coming out of high school. As hard as that is to believe when you've got your older brother going in the top 3 in the draft.
Incredibly conservative. It shortened the game. One possession game with just 5 to go, but at any moment Ohio State's speed could come to life.
Gideon with an ugly punt, but this will get the job done as it does roll inside the 30-yard line. Instead he gives it, and crab calling for a first down is Curtis Samuel as he picks up 12.
That has a similar effect, and you see him ride that mesh point as long as anybody. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, the same class of quarterbacks that JT finds himself in, they do it equally as well, and it makes Mike Weber's job a whole lot easier.
Zone read again. Again, it's Samuel. Lost the football. And it took a charity hop for Ohio State. Chase Dutra knocked it out, but the Buckeyes get the recovery. Dontre Wilson there to help. As Curtis Samuel coughed it up. Second down and 3. Zone read again. Again to give to Samuel. And he gets to the second level. Down the sideline. Inside the 35. And out of bounds at the Indiana 32-yard line. 22 more for Curtis Samuel.
That's 3 times now. And at some point you're going to see Tom Allen's crew react in a different way and say, make JT hold the ball. Instead of you playing hesitation game it in there with the quarterback and letting him dictate, you have got to take the running back away and make JT run it himself.
Clock under 5. Barrett runs the option, and he's got room. JT Barrett down the sideline. Inside the 5. Stepped out right at the 5. First and goal, Buckeyes.
And that is savvy play calling and execution. You know it. If I say that up here in the booth, you know that's exactly what the reaction will be on the field. Check to the speed option JT does, but I think he still does best.
Out of the pistol, straight ahead, Samuel. A little jump cut to the goal line. He's in for the touchdown.
There is just no panic out of the Buckeyes. One of the things I really appreciate about Urban's teams through the years. I'm sure they will take another look and make sure the ball crosses the threshold of the goal line there. For the 3 and out, get stopped a few times. You don't waver in the way you're going to attack, and eventually your best players are going to continue to get their cracks and their touches, and eventually that speed and the playmaking of Barrett and Weber and Samuel. Too much on that possession for the Hoosiers.
Now it's a 2-touchdown lead for Ohio State. Plenty of time before halftime for Indiana to get the ball back at 30 seconds. Which very well might be where Ohio State ends up, as they are off to a terrific start this season. Undefeated, #2 in America, and a 17-3 lead over an Indiana team that hasn't really pushed the envelope offensively yet the way that we expected they would have to, Brock, in order to have a chance to win this game.
Well, what's unique, Bob, to me about the Buckeyes is not only everything they present on the field, it's the psychology as well. It's Kevin Wilson sitting here looking at this game saying, how can I shorten it, right? I can look at all the numbers and even more of the tape, and Ohio State is so good in every phase. How can I continue to shorten this game, try to put some pressure on them, but in so doing, I think taking away some of your stinger and what you do best offensively, being aggressive and utilizing your #1 in the conference passing game, which has been real quiet for the Hoosiers.
26 plays in the first half run offensively by Indiana. They've only thrown the ball 7 times.
And out of those 7, 3 or 4 of those were quick swing passes. Quick check with knees to get the ball out of Lego's hands, because you don't want to turn it over. Play smart, not scared.
Well, this will help with field position. Tyler Nate breaks a tackle, spins out of the arms, at least for the moment, of Damon Webb, but he got him around the ankles and brought him down after a gain of 8.
And I love the commitment to the run as much as anybody, because ultimately that takes some of the burden off your quarterback, but you got to play the entirety of your strengths. And the strength of this group, to me, with Indiana, is still their passing game. It is Mitchell Page, it is Nick Westbrook, it is Ricky Jones that have been really productive as your top 3 receivers.
Nate has a first down. Sam Hubbard, #6 in red, made the stop. Sam Hubbard, by the way, as a senior in high school, was a terrific defensive player at Archbishop Moeller in Cincinnati. Committed to Notre Dame as a lacrosse player, and eventually ended up coming to Ohio State to play football. There's a 2-yard gain on the toss. Again to Nate. 2nd down and 8.
And again, look at this clock. Look at how you have shortened some of the games and the possessions. You get the ball to begin the second half because you deferred. And if you could just find any level of points going into halftime, I think that Kevin Wilson would consider it a win.
Again, they stay with the run. And again, it's a dive straight ahead. Raekwon McMillan came up and met Nate, and now it's 3rd down and 6.
And this guy's the soul. Man, did I love that from Luke Fickell yesterday. And I'd love to ask these coordinators, you cringe every time the way I set it up, Bob, but I'd love to ask them who the hardest hitter is. And not just the hardest hitter, he is the heartbeat of that defensive group, and that was the collision.
Big 3rd down here. Buckeyes bring a blitz. A little slip screen works to perfection. Ricky Jones is loose. A perfect play call behind the pass rush. And it's a 1st down inside the red zone for Indiana.
And look at them quickly striking here, wanting to get right back to the line of scrimmage. That same front on every 3rd down. That time they blitz. Perfect call.
Lego, a bullet, underthrown. Mitchell Page tried to scoop it up. Incomplete.
This is why you don't panic. And this is why you continue to have patience. This is why you continue to try to run the ball, shorten this game. Because a play here, a play there, and especially if you get 7 going into halftime right now and getting the ball, that imbalance in the run-pass game, just 1 turnover in that first half, and even that, I thought, was called the wrong way. The Hoosiers wanted to do attacking the Buckeyes.
Devontae Williams empties the backfield. Lego slants one over the middle at the goal line. It's Mitchell Page, and he's in. That's a Hoosier touchdown. What a swing of momentum as Indiana gets it done with the passing game.
And once again, the advantage of being 6'6" and seeing the entirety of the field, and even my little 5'6" receiver. And I'm like a pitcher throwing downhill. And Mitchell does a wonderful job in zone coverage of getting inside of Damon Webb, the converted corner. Very good coverage safety. Loses sight of Page. Can't pitch it and catch it better than that. Huge points. A minute to go before half.
17-10. As Oaks adds the extra point, a 7-play, 65-yard touchdown drive. And Mitchell Page, the former walk-on, a fifth-year senior, is able to score.
Starts with the protection. Just give the big man a little bit of space, and you give that to Richard. He's got immense arm talent. Kevin telling us even more than Nate Sutfield, drafted in the 6th round last year by the Redskins. They really feel like as Lego grows in this system and continues to play with even more confidence, you'll see that emerge even more. 63 vital seconds, though. If you're the Hoosiers, you can't just breathe and think it's halftime, because Ohio State's going to try their best to step on the accelerator.
Buckeyes with only one timeout left. A returnable kick from the 3. Harris Campbell breaks a tackle down the sideline. All the way down to the 6-yard line. Rashard Fant saved a touchdown.
It's what elite teams do, Bob. Okay, you punch us in the face. You executed a 3rd down versus the blitz and even a touchdown pass. But we are relentless in our competition. They go toe-to-toe at every single practice and every phase. It's the essence of the culture that guy has created here. And I think you could almost sense Indiana feeling awfully good about themselves, cutting it to 7. And you just know that the competitor in Ohio State was going to respond.
And Rashard Fant ends up injured after he saved a touchdown with this desperation tackle on Paris Campbell. Seemed to kind of jam that right leg as he went down, bringing Campbell to the turf.
Ohio State spreading the field here, trying to get their one-on-ones.
Nickel group on the field for Indiana. Direct snap to Curtis Samuel. And once again, the Indiana defense didn't fall for the eye candy. They bring him down at the 5. Tony Fields knife through to make the stop. 2nd down and goal at the 5. JT Barrett tries to do it himself, and he's in for an Ohio State touchdown.
And a wonderful job by the big boy, the All-American candidate, your center, Pat Elflein, getting to the 2nd level, getting a hat on a hat. It was almost as if Indiana was surprised right there, running into the short side of the field. And that's a heartbreaker if you're Indiana. You played it close to the vest. You played it to get it to halftime.
That was a lot of momentum swings in the last minute and a half of a football game. We'll see what Indiana can do with the football when they start in the 3rd quarter. Let's head back for the Lexus halftime report to the studio and admin.
Coach Meyer, how would you describe the way your team responded following that last Indiana touchdown?
Well, it was a great effort on special teams by Paris and the kickoff return team. We're playing a good team. We're playing a good team. We've got to block them better, and this is going to be battle.
What's your #1 concern right now?
Well, they get the ball to start the 2nd half, and we got a defense. I think we're playing fine. Gave up a couple plays, but that's a good team. We got to get on the edge more in the run game. Once we get on the edge, we've been having real good success.
Urban, thank you.
As we are set for the start of the 3rd quarter, a 2-touchdown lead for the Buckeyes over Indiana. It's been more of a struggle maybe than that scoreboard would lead you to believe for Ohio State. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams here at the Horseshoe. All right, your take on Indiana, their performance in the first half, and what has to happen in the second half for the Hoosiers if they want to pull off a comeback?
Well, that's a lot of part of your game plan you love. You outpossess the Buckeyes, difficult to do. You got them off the field on third down, played good team defense. But unfortunately, well, like the champion Ohio State has been, they capitalize on your mistakes, and you just can't have it if you're Indiana.
And the point you made as well, the moment that it feels like an underdog has made a big play against a calm, cool, and composed championship team, that calm, cool, and composed team, they just have faith that one of their guys is going to come back and make a play.
And what a statement to the culture here, because even though they're inexperienced, a lot of new starters, they know how it's been done here.
Devontae Williams with a flag down. Grinds out a return to the 21-yard line. Quarter, Allison?
Well, other than a couple mistakes, it's been a pretty even ball game. That's how Kevin Wilson feels as I talked to him coming out at the half. Happy with how his defense performed, pointing out that, you know, Ohio State had a couple of short touchdown drives. Offensively, I asked him about the passing game. Very run-oriented in that first half. They only threw it 10 times, and he just feels like that's the smartest option for his team. And he said, look, it's a two-possession ball game. We're in it like last week. We're just trying to make sure we're in it into the fourth quarter.
Well, they're down by 2 scores. Brock, 25 rush plays, only 10 pass attempts in the first half. How surprised are you at that split?
I am. They're about 60% run on the season, so they want to be run first to set up the pass, but you play to get it to the second half, and now you got to perform.
And they keep it on the ground to start the second half. Divine Redding blasts up the middle for 5.
And what's critical here, and we made the point in the first half, Bob, is your first down run. I love a run first mentality. I think it's the best thing for the entirety of your team, but you've got to have a little success that then set up the rest of your offense and to take advantage of that commitment to the run.
Redding again. Wrapped up by Draymond Jones, 2 yards shy of a first down. So on this, you would think, all-important first drive of the third quarter for Indiana, it is 3rd down and 2. They've got the first down and more. Hard run right up the middle by Divine Redding. A gain of 12.
And that was an excellent job by Brandon Knight, the right tackle there. I love that look. You bring your tight end over, Danny Friend, 270-pound guy, and you commit to running right behind those 2 big men.
Finally a starter and a terrific Buckeye secondary. Up the middle goes Nate. And basically a bowling ball moving the pile for 4.
He looks a little like Jerome Bettis at the end of his career. And I don't know what that means when you're 18 versus Bettis at 36. That is some serious girth.
Play action. They go. Long throw to the sideline. And that is a great job by Nick Westbrook. He became the cornerback. He broke up what could have easily been a Garyon Conley interception.
See, one of the things Ohio State does is they mix their man and zone very well. That time it's zone coverage, and you can see because Garyon has his eyes to the quarterback.
Lego, this time the stop route works. And that's a first down to Ricky Jones. Wrestled down by Lattimore.
And I get it, and I love the mentality. Ohio State doesn't do a lot defensively. I told you earlier, they basically play 2 coverages. They play man-to-man, or what they call quarters, and sometimes allow those corners to still play man principles, or they back out as Garyon did. And it's all about the face mask. When those face masks are looking at those wide receivers, pretty good indicator it's man.
Wide receiver screen to Mitchell Page. Breaking tackles and dives inside the 45 down to about the Buckeye 43-yard line. Gain of 6.
And this is the balance you want. I love the commitment to the run. Get the game to the second half. Try to shorten it and protect your defense. But you can feel it. You can feel Ohio State a bit on their heels with this mix.
Nate wrestled down right at the line of scrimmage. Jerome Baker's doing a terrific job filling in for the injured Dante Booker. Jerome Baker only played 90 total plays last year as a freshman. 3rd down and a big one here. Long throw down the sideline and the toe tap by Nick Westbrook. That's a big Indiana first down.
And this is arm strength. This is into the wind, and that is a small window of opportunity to zip it into. That's an elite safety. Malik Hooker, 3 interceptions this year, and a kid that can really run. I am telling you, you don't appreciate that throw unless you're at field level, feeling how small that window was and the velocity in the RPMs to get it home.
Back to Divine Redding. He's into the secondary. He's inside the 10. First and goal for Indiana at the 8.
And you just feel it. Look at the presentation to that defensive line. Look at the hands on the hips, the tempo and the balance.
Redding again. This time he is corralled for a loss of 1.5 yards. Jerome Baker forced him into several of his Ohio State Buckeye teammates. And there is Nick Bosa.
And remember, it was that first down run and a nice play there by Bosa, the redshirt freshman, to squeeze it. It was a first down run in the red zone last time that set you behind schedule. An elite defense down here, so hard to penetrate, makes it more difficult when you get nothing out of first down.
12th play of the drive. Lego on a keeper. And now it's 3rd down and goal. There's Nick Bosa again. Are you limiting yourself with these play calls to just one shot at the end zone?
Yeah, I don't understand that one. If you're playing an opponent that you think you can catch off guard, I get it. Playing this opponent in this house, quarterback run with that big fella, not ideal.
Lego empties the backfield. A fade to the back corner, a bust in coverage for Ohio State. And Danny Friend with an easy touchdown. And we've got a 1-score game again.
How about that response? How about Urban Meyer and the Buckeye fans saying, no. We're the ones who are supposed to respond. We are the ones, when the going gets tough, we make the play, and that is tremendous. If I don't like the quarterback run, and I didn't, you can't do it better than that. That's Danny Friend. That's a 6'5", 270-pound blocking tight end who's going out to block and influence the entirety of that Ohio State defense. And a perfect little pitch and catch, and what a response from the Hoosiers.
Only the 5th catch of the season for Danny Friend, but his 2nd touchdown. And they just do get the extra point up and through to cut the lead to 7. 4 for 4 on 3rd down on that drive. Richard Lego and the Hoosiers. The 4th 3rd down conversion, good for 7.
13 plays, 89 yards. Kevin Wilson talking to his signal caller right there. 8 runs, success in the early down run game. Gave him an opportunity to convert 4 3rd downs, including the huge one in the red zone for 6. Safe to say that the Indiana teams through the decades that have been beaten up by these guys don't put a drive together like that coming out of the second half, responding to adversity, momentum that had turned going in the other way with Ohio State scoring before halftime.
True. Recent history, though, suggests that the matchup between these two teams would be closer than expected. Went down to the last play last year. Harris Campbell changed the game with a big kickoff return to end the first half. He's trying to turn the corner here. He's got another big kickoff return, but a flag down. Out to the 43-yard line. If it stands. Straight ahead handoff and a crease for Curtis Samuel. Brought down inside the 30. Tony Fields saved a touchdown.
And guess who? Your right guard, Billy Price, your center, Pat Elflein. Look at right in the middle. Look at Billy Price just move people. That's a mountain of a man, your strongest Buckeye. And as much as you're trying to get Samuel to the edge, get him to the perimeter more than anything as he runs over Tony Fields, you just want to get him a crease and some space.
And not for nothing, that was a really good tackle by Tony Fields. I mean, that is one-on-one in the open field against arguably the shiftiest and most explosive Buckeye skill position player. Play action, a swing pass, that gets batted down. Was that a backwards pass? No. The official on the sideline says incomplete. Patrick Doherty got the deflection.
And that's awfully close, but that's the right call. That's an incomplete pass. And speaking of Curtis Samuel, I love Urban Meyer yesterday and the way he challenges his talent. And he said to young Curtis, he said, listen, Percy Harvin's who your skill set is, but in Gainesville, when Percy got the ball, the whole stadium held their breath. That's the place he'd like Samuel to get to in this horseshoe.
JT Barrett, quarterback draw. Ohio State does not have a yard passing since the first quarter. You know, Brock, we've talked a lot about what seems to be a run-to-pass disparity that surprised us for Indiana. Ohio State has run the ball 29 times. They've only thrown it 10 times in the game. Does that surprise you that there's not more balance for the Buckeyes?
You do whatever it takes now. You do whatever you take. And I still think JT's greatest talent is his ability to run. He's a magician off the play action off of it. And if the defense can't stop it like this drive, you keep calling it.
Little zone read, and this time JT Barrett is dropped basically at the line of scrimmage by Tigre Scales.
Now the only trade-off, and life's about trade-offs, the only trade-off is you're exposing him to more and more contact. And you've got a youngster, a redshirt freshman, and Joe Burrow behind it. You don't have three with a Braxton Miller and a Cardell Jones and JT. And that also, I think, is some of the plan of making sure you protect the number of hits JT takes.
Right up the middle goes Mike Weber. Down inside the 10, very close to a Buckeye first down. It looks like he's a yard shy, so it brings up a huge 3rd down and 1 inside the 10-yard line.
You noticed you're running right behind your center and right guard.
And now they go with tempo. And a bobbled snap. JT Barrett tripped up. It looks like he picked up the first down. Well, there is the composure of a quarterback that is 19-2 in his career as a starter.
That one a little bit high, disrupts the whole play. And you're right, how many times do you see inexperienced guys panic in that moment of truth? He knows right where he's at, right where the marker is. I think there's been a commitment to the run game on this drive, eh?
1st and goal. JT Barrett shaking and baking to the edge, diving for the pylon. Out of bounds inside the 1, where it will be 2nd down and goal. What a response. Terrific drive by the Buckeyes.
And it's unique and it's different run. It's quarterback draw. It's option. It's zone read. That time it is quarterback power. You are emptying your playbook as you should in a 7-point game past the halfway point of the 3rd quarter.
Leaping over the pile at the goal line and in is Mike Weber. That's a Buckeye touchdown.
Well, your helmet stickers on this drive go to your center and right guard. JT Barrett, the beneficiary, this time Mike Weber as well. Look at the job that Pat Elflein and Billy Price, your redshirt senior, your redshirt junior, your 2 most powerful men at the point of attack. And when push comes to shove, you shove them around with those 2 in the middle.
1 incomplete pass and 12 runs on an 85-yard touchdown drive, running behind Pat Elflein and a big offensive line. How about each of the 2 offenses with 13-play scoring drives here in the 3rd quarter? And that has eaten up over 5 minutes with each of those 2 drives. Indiana starts the 3rd quarter with a 13-play, 89-yard touchdown drive. And the Buckeyes respond with a 13-play, 85-yard touchdown drive of their own. So now the heat back on the Hoosier offense. Devontae Williams from inside the 10 tries to turn the corner. And brought down at about the 27. Divine Redding lines up behind Lego in the pistol.
And that C gap that Allison responded to, that Larry Johnson charged his guys, is right here. It's that ability to collapse that edge and be physical.
Lego, play action, up the seam. Unable to connect with Ricky Jones. Sean Lattimore in coverage.
And that's when you got to find a way to hit. I know it is windy. We've probably not commented on that nearly enough. with some of the challenges in the passing game and the commitment that both teams have made to running it.
2nd down and 10. Lego to throw again with a pump fake. Lobs one out of bounds. At least well over the head of Ricky Jones. Now it is 3rd down and 10.
And a nice finish there from Robert Landers getting home. That's exactly what this defense is predicated on. That front four squeezing the run, affecting the passer. And now you also see why Kevin Wilson's been committed to those early down runs. 2 early passes and you back yourself way up.
Lego has missed on his last 4 attempts. Play clock under 10. Buckeyes rush 4. They try the slip screen and it is read to perfection. Sam Hubbard sags off the line and blows up Ricky Jones after 2 13-play drives by the 2 respective offenses to start off the 3rd quarter. That is the 3rd straight 3 and out.
And this is that tunnel screen that they ran successfully the first time. The second time they scored a touchdown pass off of it. So Kevin Wilson trying to come back a 3rd time. And the Buckeyes respond. Don't bring the pressure. They anticipate. They win that chess match. And a pretty critical 3 and out.
Gideon gets away. A pretty good kick. Forcing a fair catch. The 40-yard line by Dontre Wilson.
And unlike Ohio State, that plays so much press, look at the soft coverage outside.
Dragging a tackler for about 5 yards is Curtis Samuel. And Samuel's going to have to check out as he lost a shoe. Tigray Scales with the stop. And after shortening the game, talking about how Indiana's done a great job time of possession wise, they only had the ball 22 total seconds on that 3 and out.
And that's the danger of pass, pass, pass.
Here's Mike Weber. He is stuffed after a gain of a half yard. Again, it's Tigray Scales. And again, Indiana has forced a 3rd down. And that takes us to the end of the 3rd quarter. So the Buckeyes take a 2-touchdown lead to the 4th quarter, but Indiana won't go away. The final 15 minutes coming up from the Horseshoe. Set for the start of the 4th quarter. Bob Wischusen alongside Brock Ewart. Allison Williams down on the field here in Columbus. 3rd down and 1. Flags down. A run that's good for a 1st down to Curtis Samuel. If the play stands, we have to check the penalty marker.
This, I think, is going to go against Ohio State.
Illegal formation. More than 4 players in the backfield offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
So now it's 3rd down and 6. And Brock, doesn't it feel now that we've arrived at the point in the game where Indiana has no margin for error? Even a field goal on this drive makes it a 3-possession game. I don't know that there's any way an Indiana offense against this defense, a championship defense in their building, could come back from 3 scores down. Only a 3-man rush. That ball tipped and intercepted. Picked off. Ashawn Riggins. Blockers out in front. Inside the 15-yard line. The big play that Indiana had to have from their defense to get back in it. And now they're in the red zone with a chance to make it a 1-score game.
I don't think Kevin Wilson envisioned that by any stretch when he declined or took that penalty. But that's Michael Baugh, the tight end there. Big man who's got 5 catches, 1st touchdown reception last week. And the ball a little bit outside his frame. You would love to see him make that catch and help his quarterback out. In the worst case scenario for the Buckeyes and the very best case for these Hoosiers, Bob, who have just not quit. Come into this venue, it's been tough. It's been a little bit inconsistent here offensively, but all the while they played pretty sound defense. And JT saying, I know I can put it on your frame. You just got to help your buddy out.
Only the 3rd interception thrown this season by JT Barrett. 1st and 10 at the 13. Divine Redding inside the 10, down to the 6. That's a gain of about 8 yards. The ball may have come out. Did Jalen Holmes knock the ball out? Well, the officials are not saying he was down. Who's got it? It looks like an Indiana recovery. Divine Redding may have gotten his own fumble back.
And Divine knew it. You could sense it. It's out. You could sense it by his reaction immediately. Look at him. He's fighting like mad. And some fortuitous bounces have gone the Buckeyes' way at times. But they're the effort and the energy for Indiana to get in the pile and dig it out.
Boy, how did he get that ball back? And you've got Tyler Natee and Divine Redding flanking Lego. Redding stopped at the 5. A championship defense rises up and gets the 4th down stop. And it's Nick Bosa. He was the first there for the Buckeyes. Ohio State gets the stop on downs at their own 5-yard line. Wow. 5th game of the season for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and they still have not allowed a rushing touchdown and have not allowed a 4th quarter point to be scored on their defense. And they get a 4th down stop to turn it back over to their offense with a 2-touchdown lead. Still a lot of time left. JT Barrett with a read option. Mike Weber gets outside. Stepped out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Allison?
There was some frustration boiling over after Ohio State was intercepted, and some disagreements going on between some of the players and the coaches about why that interception happened. But the calming influence on the sideline was JT Barrett. He came over to his guys, didn't say a whole lot, just kind of gave him a look like, calm down. We got this. He's not the most vocal quarterback, but he makes his presence felt.
Urban Meyer told us that his leadership, his management of other players, and here he is on the quarterback keeper. And that looks to be good for a 1st down. Reminds him of Tim Tebow in terms of how he is viewed in the locker room and the leadership that has developed even through the adversity that he put himself through last year.
Yeah, and I think the difference is Tim obviously wore it all on his sleeve, and you felt every bit of Tebow's emotion, and JT is quite the other way. Calm, cool, collected. When he raises his voice, everyone listens.
Maybe a half-yard gain on 1st down for Ohio State. All right, Adnan, thanks very much. Little swing pass in the left flat to Mike Weber. With a cutback, about 3 yards shy of the 1st down. Now, 2 plays ago, Brock, Indiana, or rather Ohio State, snapped the ball with 18 on the play clock. That last play, snapped the ball with 15 on the play clock. Are you surprised that they're still going with this hurried up pace? Now 3rd down and 2.
Well, they want to get their tempo going.
And it's a 1st down.
Because the alternative on the previous couple drives had not really worked. So it is that fine balance that you find with these teams, these tempo teams. And Ohio State's been pretty deliberate. And I'll give Indiana a ton of credit for it. And I'll really give their front. Those big boys right there. Mr. Doherty, 58. We've seen Nate Hoff. We've seen Ralph Green. That is the biggest difference for the Indiana Hoosier football team in this defense. And why they've been much more stout today than anybody else has been against these Buckeyes. They are a much better collection defensively than Kevin Wilson has had in his 6 years.
How about JT Barrett looking downfield, wants to take a shot. Incomplete, intended for Curtis Samuel, who could not get his head turned around to look for the football.
See the big deep breath right there. Just the passing game is out of sorts. It's out of rhythm. The run game has been very difficult to get anything consistently here, especially save for one drive in the 2nd half. Swing pass to Mike Weber. One hands it, but gets knocked out of bounds.
And that, once again, for at least the time being, will stop the clock with 5:04 to go. Chris Covington bumped him out.
In a rare blitz, Indiana's been content to trust their big guys up front, not really have to bring numbers, bring an edge defender, but guess what? Indiana's right on it. It's a miraculous completion for 1 yard. And who knew that we would be talking about Indiana's defense today just about as much as we have Ohio State's very vaunted #1 ranked defense. The Hoosiers deserve that kind of credit.
And the first time in these last couple of series that Ohio State has even seemingly worked on the clock. JT Barrett. How about that run for a first down? An absolute killer for Indiana, giving it up on the ground to JT Barrett on 3rd down and 9, a gain of 11.
Well, that's his buddies out there on the perimeter as well, finally getting some good blocks on the outside, and JT says enough's enough. If I got to sacrifice my body and this is it, and I'm the extra guy in the box count, and I'm the guy that can't be accounted for, then I'll run for 100 yards today, and it won't be pretty, and everybody can talk about our struggles offensively, but it's about winning games.
Barrett again to throw. This time it's on time. Getting loose is Dontre Wilson, and he finds the end zone for a Buckeye touchdown.
Nice job here, Barrett having some of that time and patience, and even better job of Dontre Wilson to run through contact, keep that route flat across the middle, and then finally a big play from the Buckeyes offense.
JT Barrett with his 60th career touchdown pass, adding to his Ohio State record. And what a player JT Barrett is. 2 more touchdowns responsible for today. He has 1 rushing and now has 1 passing. He has accounted for at least 1 touchdown in all 22 of his career starts, and he's now only 2 behind Braxton Miller for the all-time record, most touchdowns responsible for in Buckeye history, and he's only a junior. So he, if he stays for the entirety of his senior season, will shatter, if he stays healthy, so many records. But back to what we just heard, that result as Navy pulls off the upset. Now, if you're Louisville, how much does that hurt your hopes in the eyes of maybe that having that resume building opportunity that now Houston, who is still out there in front of you on your schedule, is no longer an undefeated team?
It does, but you've just got to control what you can. And I think that's the story here for Ohio State as well. It was ugly, it wasn't fun. You saw JT talking to Marcus Baugh, his tight end, still frustrated about that interception late. But you've just got to control what you can. And that means routing people. That means you may have to blow them out. And when you face the Houston team, you hope that they are unblemished from this point on, and you go take it to them. But I'll tell you, I know that there's going to be some concern here in Columbus, and I'm sure the folks in the team up north is watching this one and will watch the tape, and the folks in the south are going to watch this tape and say, is Ohio State really the #2 ranked team? I mean, if Indiana could do this and frustrate and challenge that offense, then, you know, what is a Michigan and what's Wisconsin going to do? But I'll tell you, each and every week with 18 to 22-year-olds, it's about perseverance and fortitude. And this group shows it. Even when they don't play their best ball, like a pitcher without his best stuff, it is still tough to beat them.
Swing pass caught by Majette. Stays in bounds and gets to the 31-yard line. A gain of 9, of course, next Saturday night. These Buckeyes go up to Camp Randall to take on the Badgers in prime time. So that will be another tough test.
And I think legitimately their offensive line is going to have to play a whole lot better. And they've got 3 new pieces there. And I think they show they've got some work to do in their passing game out on the perimeter.
There's Majette for a first down. I agree with you. We, I think, kind of get caught in the silo of the week that we're working. And you see this performance. Well, Indiana really pushed Ohio State. 5-6 weeks down the road. Is the playoff committee, is anyone going to remember this being anything other than just a solid home win for Ohio State over an improved Indiana team? Lego steps up, and that ball's intercepted, picked off by Malik Hooker. Malik Hooker takes a pop and stays on his feet. He's got a convoy. He's got the end zone. Flags down. It's a Buckeye defensive touchdown again. That's the 5th time that the Bucks have scored with a pick-6 return so far this year. Now that was a penalty for a chop block during the return, so that will wipe away Malik Hooker's touchdown.
It doesn't wipe away the interception, and just that feel in those eyes. Don't play a ton of zone in that case, and when they do, they are so aware. Corners, safeties, so aware, and you see the cut down block right there from Arnett in front. But 60 minutes play out, and this is a 60-minute team. They find a way to punch it in. You get awfully close to what people expected on the scoreboard.
Mike Weber swamped under by Robert McCray. Helping out on the tackle was Chris Covington. Let's go down to Allison.
Well, Brock mentioned for Ohio State, it's about playing for the guy next to you, and that's what Urban Meyer calls the power of the unit. He says this team has 9 units for each position, and it's something that he's really emphasized this year. He's talked about it in the past, but never to this extent. In fact, this year they rarely have team meetings. They have position meetings led by their position coaches, and he said by doing that, it allows them to develop a closeness and an elite chemistry on this team.
And you feel that when you're in the meetings with the coaches and the players. As Weber goes up the middle and gets down inside the 15-yard line. Brock, that's palpable, isn't it, from the coaches that talk about the relationships they've developed with their specific position groups. Greg Schiano jumps to mind. I mean, an NFL head coach now is back in college, and he coaches the safeties. He's in a position group meeting with those guys. He talked about how much fun that is.
You know what's really difficult in the entirety of that equation is to find 9 quality assistants that can lead each of those positions.
That's a good point, too. JT Barrett on 3rd down, swings one to Mike Weber. Brought down at the 11-yard line, but that looks to be good enough for a 1st down. Looks like he was brought down right on the line to gain. Let's see where they mark him. As Chris Covington made the stop. Now they're going to mark him down closer to the 12. So it's 4th down and a yard. And that will take us down inside of a minute to go. Barrett follows Weber up the middle for a 1st down on 4th and 1.
And not pretty. And Kevin Wilson's going to have plenty to be proud of with his crew, especially his defense. I mean, his defense have battled time and time and time again. He knows there's some work to do physically, especially with their group up front and some of the growth that he's got to get to continue to develop his offense. Hard fought, Urban Meyer said it would be his toughest game, and he was right. It's the toughest game physically they have faced this season, but they come out the victor, as Urban's done just about every time out as a Buckeye.
Is 55-4 pretty good record in your book?
20-2 as a starting quarterback as well. Play the game to win.
A terrific win, as it turns out, for Ohio State. So long from Columbus. Let's head to Fayetteville, Alabama, and Arkansas.